Massive troubles for the Daily Wire. This is pretty interesting. I mean, last week, if you don't know what happened with this controversy, a lot of people from the Daily Wire were going out there adding to fuel to the fire, saying that the phrase "Christ is King" is anti-Semitic. Very odd, and very odd given that Ben Shapiro, a Jewish man, is in charge of all of this. And right after this, we see that CEO Jeremy Boring steps down from his role at the Daily Wire. And now there's rumors that it's going bankrupt. This is pretty interesting. So Daily Wire was one of those out there that actually was beginning to get into the culture war stuff. They produced a couple of movies, pretty rough movies at that. But it seemed like they were one of the few that were actually trying to do something. And it gets really, really weird here. I've always kind of thought they were controlled opposition. And now we're seeing that there may be internal problems here where they were propped up. We're going to get into this in just a moment. Please hit the like and subscribe button. This is Fandom Pulse, our Substack. We talk about all things in the culture war, entertainment news, and the like. We are bringing the fight directly. And so please sign up for this in the description below. It makes sure you don't miss any news items that are coming out during the day. But on top of that, you can sign up, and for $5 a month, you can become a member here and support us. We do this without advertising. That way we don't sell out to anybody. We don't have any problems. And we're doing this full time to bring this to you because this is needed in the culture. Remember that politics is downstream from culture. This is something that a lot of people just ignore out there. And we're growing very, very fast. Our site's actually getting more views than a lot of regular news outlets out there, which is great news, and we're only getting started, my friends. Thank you for being here. So the Daily Wire's CEO is stepping down, he announced. There's a report from Axios, and fellow co-CEO and founder Caleb Robinson will be now the full-time CEO as he vacates his position. While he's stepping down, he informed the Daily Wire employees that he will remain in an advisory role. This is pretty normal when you're leaving a job like this. You actually have contract clauses where you kind of have to do that sort of thing for usually a year or two. And he's going to continue to host the Daily Wire Backstage for now, as well as creative projects such as the Pendragon Cycle, where he's director and executive producer. I was actually really looking forward to this one, hoping that they do a good job with it. This is something that's important to do well. The Pendragon Cycle, if you are not familiar with the books it's based upon, are excellent Christian fantasy fiction. Now, in a press release to Daily Wire's website, it affirmed Boring will also stay on an advisory role, continue to host this with the company's monthly show featuring Shapiro, Walsh, Michael Knowles, and Andrew Clavin. He also stated, I'm enormously proud of our team, our many battles, successes we've achieved together over the last decades. We're just getting started. To get us to the heights we know we can achieve, we have brought in a world-class executive team I'm confident will thrive in taking us to the next level. Under Caleb's ongoing leadership, while I turn my full attention to creative and entertainment ventures for the company. Interesting stuff right here, because they are losing major talent like Candace Owens and Brett Cooper, who were big draws for this stuff. You could see that Candace Owens is now beating Ben Shapiro in views on YouTube, which is pretty wild to see at this point. And it is just because she's taking stands on behalf of Christian culture. And when you actually stand up for something true, it actually does something way more than, when you're just kind of floundering out there. If you don't have any values, it doesn't go anywhere. And this controversy is pretty interesting, and it's leading to a much crazier rumor saying that this guy is kind of right. The writing on the wall is here, and they're going bankrupt. This comes from Ian Carroll. It follows this announcement, and this sort of deal is pretty interesting. He says the Daily Wire is going bankrupt allegedly. Jeremy Boring is officially out on as CEO. He says it's not broken so far as I'm aware, that private equity is moving in and looking to buy up the Daily Wire. I've heard a rumor mill that Silver Lake Capital is looking to buy them up. He then indicated there's a lot of skullduggery happening behind the scenes of the Daily Wire, saying canceled credit cards, lying to the press, and trying to trick Tim Pool. There was a point where the Daily Wire was talking about buying Tim Pool and bringing him in on that. Interesting stuff on that level. And I know he actually flirted with it for a second, pretty openly there, and then just stuff went wild over there as well. Now, a lot of these ventures are propped up and don't exactly make the money that people think they make. And we saw this with Tim Pool last year as well. He cut a lot of his staff. It was kind of a weird thing. I wasn't expecting it because I thought things were going very, very well over at the Tim Pool Center, but I guess there was a big bloated staff. He even got rid of popular commentators on his channel like Hannah Claire Brimlow, who is now working with the Quartering doing streams with him. That was scooped up really, really quickly because the talent there was pretty obvious. Now they are still running their pop culture crisis show, which I really like. The guys over there do a really good job, and they are covering pop culture and stuff like we do here, which is a wonderful thing. If you don't watch them, I definitely recommend it. But it was an interesting thing to see that kind of get slashed, see the Daily Wire getting slashed. It's like this conservative media groups, the big conservative media think tanks that were, kind of the approved ones, are all kind of slipping a little bit here, aren't they? It looks like independent operations are going a little better. Later in the call, Carroll confirms that Boring was forced out of the company. They are not letting Jeremy Boring back in the building right now, apparently. He was 100% forced out, not willing to leave. He went on to detail that because of financial mismanagement and the company's lack of funds that forced them into hiring freeze because there was no money in the bank, allegedly. Wow. Pretty interesting on that front. Carroll went on to note that the poor financial management led to Boring floating the idea that the Daily Wire was open to being acquired. Boring told Axios back in November, "It's easy to imagine strategic partnership with Fox or someone else like Fox." And I've seen this strategic partnership word floated about quite a bit. When you see something like this, that means they're actively looking for somebody. Ubisoft has been doing much the same. We've been covering Assassin's Creed Shadows heavily on the channel here, and that company is a big video game company that is bloated, same sort of situation. They needed a huge success here with this new game. It doesn't look like it's happening. You can watch my video earlier on just how bad it's flopping right now. But on top of this, if you look at it, they have in the background are talking about strategic partnerships and getting bought out as their stock's been declining as well. So this is a big indicator for me. When you see these types of languages like this, you know that there's problems. So with Fox or someone else like Fox, of course, we think we could complement Fox and don't compete with Fox. They actually want to be bought by Fox News. Daily Wire is looking to possibly partner with a larger company or raise significant round of capital next year to meet its growth ambitions, meaning they're behind. Still later, he reiterated, it sounds like there's no money in the bank, so to speak, and they're not making profits. This is pretty normal for a startup company. I mean, but the Daily Wire's been around for a really long time, so this doesn't seem like a normal startup company situation. They should be making a profit by this point. They shouldn't be behind. Now, this is, again, part of a larger media landscape as well. We're seeing that there's large ad revenue declines, which hurts an outlet like the Daily Wire a lot more. This is why Phantom Pulse exactly does not have an ad revenue model, why we're completely doing subscriptions, because ad revenue has declined massively. Even on the YouTube channel here, guys, I can tell you that the cost per clicks have gone down by more than half since last year. Corporations are slashing those budgets, and it's been a media apocalypse in a lot of ways. So this is exactly why it's important to support people like us when we do this, because you can't rely on advertising. You can't rely on Google pushing this all through, especially as things are changing. And I saw a Clownfish TV video that said that Google is using their AI to answer questions rather than supporting news articles. And so that way you're kept within the Google ecosystem there and kept on the site there directly. And they're going to stop farming things out as much to different websites, and they're going to have you just look up the AI on there so that you're looking at their AI and looking at the ads directly to them. That way they don't have to pay anybody out. And that's exactly what I think is starting to happen a lot across the corporate landscape for media. I haven't just seen it on the conservative side with the Daily Wire and Tim Pool, but I've seen this all the way across the board. We've seen layoffs happening at other massive media companies over the last year, and it's getting worse right now. The situation is only building up. So Daily Wire probably needs a lot of help right now. They probably do need a big, angel investor to come in and help them with their big bloated operations that they have already. And this is pretty wild. They're not making profits, he said. There's a difference between revenue and profits, and Jeremy has been doing a lot of finagling over the last years to make it look really, really good. When you're trying to make things look really, really good, you know you've got a massive problem on your hands. So this is a pretty wild story, interesting stuff on this front. I hope it's interesting to you because, again, this is a big part of the culture right here. Well, when there's a site like the Daily Wire, they've been getting into movies. They're making a fantasy Pendragon cycle sort of thing, and it looks like they've got massive financial problems. This is a huge, different problem for the entire industry right here that we are reporting. What do you think about this? Do you think the Daily Wire's in trouble? Leave a comment down below with what you think. Love to hear from you. Please sign up for the Phantom Pulse Substack. Like I said, it's in the description below. Plus all my books and stuff if you want to support the channel. And also hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.